great furry bumblebee, the gentle giant of the blossoms, that somehow awkward, slow, bumbling bear of a bee. This excerpt from Brian Griffith's book, Humble Bumblebee, reminds me of the bees in our garden that my family are so excited to see every year. And on this World Bee Appreciation Day, I want to recognize the U of I Pollinatarium for bringing lessons taught by the bees to my family. The Pollinatarium provides education so children be not afraid of pollinators. Most children are afraid of bees. My children were certainly no exception. And when it came to the bumbling bee who was valiantly defending his territory, my porch, I knew that we had to do something. My children and I crossed the sawdust-covered porch, escaped the dive-bombing bumblebee, and made it to the car so that we could drive to the Pollinatarium seeking answers. We almost missed the dirt road, hidden by prairie flowers and corn, but we were smiling ear to ear when we found the small little building, hidden and brightly colored. Big murals depicting butterflies and bees suspended above cornflowers and daisies of fuchsia, white, and yellow. The kids were excited. All reservation of being stung by bees temporarily suspended. Inside was a marvel to behold. A small dome-colored, mud-covered thing that we found out later was a 100-year-old beehive. How do you handle the bees, my son asked the staff, and behold, he was able to see, to touch, to smell, to try on an actual bee suit. When it came time to explain our curious predicament, the small bee with large aspirations of remodeling our deck, the ever so smart staff of the Pollinatarium explained to us that our bee was a carpenter bee. The staff told us that they just so happened to have a bee house left over from a children's event and asked us if we'd like to take it home with us. And it didn't end there. The children got to learn about wax that bees make and how those turn into chapstick and other relative items. They watched the activity of a beehive from the safe side of the plexiglass as the bees lovingly and gently took care of their young. When my children realized that the bees were making honey, they were no longer vicious deliverers of stings, they were now bringers of sweets. The Pollinatarium teaches the public to be appreciative of pollinators. Don't judge every day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Taken literally, this quote by Robert Louis Stevenson reminds me of the importance of naturally seeding, native plants, and how they play a role in the natural life cycle of pollinators. Successful native flower sales at the Pollinatarium teach us the importance of flowers that pollinators depend on for food. Children attending the Pollinatarium iSTEM classes learn to appreciate pollination and pollinators and their place in our ecological system. The Pollinatarium is teaching generations through these kind of programs our vulnerability to losing pollinators. The Pollinatarium also encourages us to be part of the team. The bee is more honored than the other animals, not because she labors, but because she labors for others. St. John Chrysostom. Unfortunately, society has not done a good job of honoring our bees. Without the labors of the pollinators, our ecosystem would surely collapse. Scientists worldwide know this, especially the scientists at the Pollinatarium. Since opening their doors in 2012, this small science-based organization is making huge efforts in the preservation of pollinators and their food sources. Through hosting annual Bee Blitz, we learned how bees work as a team. Bees leave no member behind. Bees step up to help if a member is in need. Bees show selflessness because the good of the whole is the priority of the individual. For over 10 years, the Poly Bee Spotter Citizens Group has been working for the betterment of bees. In conjunction with U of I scientists, one of the bee spotters in 2008 recognized a bee that was previously thought to be extinct. Citizen-based programs such as the Bee Spotter show our larger community wants to be part of Team Bee. In conclusion, the Pollinatarium, their professors, students, and staff, volunteers, they teach us valuable lessons and the importance of our stewardship to this earth through the preservation of the bumbling bear bee.